After blowing a 3-run ninth-inning lead yesterday in New York, the Cubs hope to move on from all the Carlos Marmol talk as they take on the first-place Cardinals in St. Louis, weather permitting. Plus, the White Sox take on the Astros here on Comcast SportsTalk. But, of course, wall-to-wall coverage of the Blackhawks when Kip Lewis joins me at 6:30. But now we send it back over to Cap and more Sports Talk Live.
All right, have a great show.
All right, Cap.
All right, let's talk. As Mark mentioned, the Cubs should have a 4-game winning streak heading to Boston. Then Carlos Marmol got the ball in the ninth, and, well, he kept on pitching. He gave up not 1, but 2 home runs, a hit, a walk. Mets rally in the ninth for a win. Here's Dale Swaim, this ought to be good, after the game, explaining why he went with Marmol in the ninth and then stayed with it.
Obviously, Marmol's done it before, and the other guys never had to get those last 3 outs. Besides maybe Camp, but he hasn't, gotten a big league game yet in a while. So, Marmol's done, a decent job. He's just this year, all the other innings, he's done a pretty good job. He's having trouble with those last 3 outs, and we all know that he's gotten, a lot of saves in his career. But for some reason now, it's beginning. He doesn't quite have the slider that he used to. So, it's not that easy. But it's still something's going on in the other innings. It's not going on in the late, that last inning.
That was an SNL skit that you just watched. That was those comments. I don't normally fire on the manager. Those are some of the most ridiculous comments I have ever heard. I'm incensed listening to those comments. I don't blame Carlos Marmol. I really don't. He went out and did the best he possibly could. It is the manager's job to put his team in the best possible position to win. And when he ran him out there in the ninth inning, he's basically saying, you know what? Whatever, we'll see what happens. This guy can't do the job in the ninth. He should never be put in. Now today, he wakes up the manager and he says, yeah, he's probably not an option in the ninth. Where'd you park the cop car, Dick Tracy? Are you kidding me? This is absolutely ludicrous.
Who's he supposed to put in?
I don't care if he goes and gets the guy running the camera, Steve, right now.
Is Steve on the 40 man?
Steve hasn't blown 4,000 saves and watched this same nonsense over and over again.
Is Steve on the 40 man?
I'll get him on the 40 man, whatever it takes. I don't care who he uses.
I appreciate your passion for this. I really do. But you do not want to win games. You want to finish as low as possible. I wrote it down. Mets, Marlins, Brewers, Dodgers, White Sox, and Astros. That's who we're chasing against right now. You want as low of a pick as possible. That's why when Carlos Marmol comes in the game, it is a great thing.
Oh, stop.
I love it.
Really?
Yeah.
So then what do you say to the guys in the locker room who are busting their tail, laying out, trying to win games? Hey, guys, we actually don't want you to do well.
Well, look, there's not a lot you can say, and that's a good point. But the one thing I did like about it, to those guys, you watched Anthony Rizzo walk off the field, look so disappointed and incensed. Out of nowhere, Alfonso Soriano's throwing things allegedly in the clubhouse or in the shower, which I'm shocked you actually care. Wow, that's interesting. I mean, this is a guy that just, to me,
You don't think Soriano cares?
No, I don't think he cares.
If he cares, Soriano cares.
If Soriano cares,
you're exactly right.
If Soriano cared, then why does he not? Why does he choose to stay with the Chicago Cubs when he can go to San Francisco and play for a winner? And he stands there, and whatever, sorry, but stands there all day long, waving to the fans. Come on.
He is one of the better leaders going. The players worship him in there as a leader. That guy with the knees that he has to bust his tail like he has.
That's why he doesn't want to play in San Fran.
Correct.
Because he wouldn't be around if he didn't care.
Yeah.
He wouldn't be. He wouldn't. But these guys got to know what the plan is, though, too.
They do know the plan. We shove it down their throats every time we talk to them. We tell them they don't matter and the season doesn't matter.
Right.
And they hate it.
And I know there's a competitiveness and all that, but come on, I mean, he didn't want to trot Greg out there for the
fourth time, right?
Then use James Russell for another inning.
Well, to Swaim's point, it's a valid one. Like, Dale, what are you doing? I mean, come on. How is this your choice? But on the other side, if you're Dale, you see him and he pitches well in the 7th and the 8th. He has been. That's a fact. So
he's been in the 9th a billion times, and a billion times he melts down.
Okay, but a billion times before this year, he was very successful in the 9th. He was a solid closer.
He has almost
not before this year because he lost his job last year.
Okay, look, and then he came back and he pitched very well.
Right, and they were lined up trying to trade for him. They offered him everywhere. No one wanted him.
Well, that's the other great argument.
Here's the thing with a lot of managers and a lot of bad GMs is they're so stubborn. You know what I mean? They just go off past performance and they go off name and things like that. Dale said it himself. He doesn't have the slider anymore. If you don't have the slider anymore, how are you going to be a closer?
He's not the same guy.
The slider works in the 5th and 6th and even into the 7th. But do you see in the 9th inning he has almost a 10 ERA. And in the 8th inning, he's pushing 7 runs.
Yeah, Chris Kampka.
He hasn't given up a run in any other inning.
Chris Kampka, the cruncher, ran numbers here. Walk-off home runs allowed from 2006 to 13 for the Cubs. He's tied with Greg and Howery, who allowed 3. Blown saves with a 3+ earned run, giving up 3 or more earned runs. Carlos Marmol from 2008 to 13 is one off the major league lead, blowing 3-run leads. Home runs allowed in the 9th inning in the majors this season. Carlos Marmol is second in baseball with 5 home runs allowed. And how about this one? This season, you look at Carlos Marmol, he's given up 6 homers in 26 2/3. Travis Wood has given up 6 homers in 85 innings. Edwin Jackson 5 in 71 2/3. He's second in most number of walks per 9 innings. 7 walks per 9 innings.
Here, let's talk about what, I mean, we know Marmol's, listen, we know he's bad. We know he's done. He's not going to be part of any important team in the Chicago Cubs. What's important is how the guys they actually want to keep and build off of, how they're going to build their, themselves and how they're going to evolve as players. And I remember opening day I asked Theo this. We had a little long talk after the group session. When you come to Rizzo and Castro, how does all this losing affect them as players? His point was that they should be the ones making the Cubs better because they have that talent. My point is they're still young, and playing for losing baseball doesn't make you better. Right? Doesn't make you a better player, and we're kind of seeing this because they've both been pretty bad this year.
How about worse than that, though? How about the starting pitchers and their psyche? Because this guy's taking money out of their pockets when he's blowing wins. The hitters are one thing. They kind of live in their own way. But the others, the starting pitchers, I mean, Marmol's just killed them.
All right, let's move to the White Sox, and I'll ask you guys this question going into the White Sox. They're trying to avoid a 4-game sweep to one of the worst teams in baseball, Houston. If they lose tonight, it's a 4-game sweep at Houston. I mean, they'll fall 11 under 500. They're just brutal. You get picked off at the end of the game. I mean, both teams are terrible. Right now, today, Dan, which roster, which franchise do you think's farther along?
Oh, the Cubs. Come on.
No, I mean, because they've begun their rebuild before the Sox.
We're only a half game behind them, and we still have the 1 game left to play, which could turn into the real 1-game Subway Series.
What's funny is during the Crosstown Cup, I think I was like the only columnist covering it, that I wrote a column saying the Cubs are better. And, White Sox fans are hammering me about it. It's close. I mean, I think the White Sox have the ability, to go on a nice run, but I don't see it happening. Like I said, I think it's more likely that Adam Dunn hits 180 than the White Sox pull a 180 because they're bad at so many things right now. It's tough to watch. I mean, I don't know what the ratings are going to be for the White Sox-Astros game tonight, but I don't think I'm going to get an email in the morning saying it's set a record.
So let me ask you this. If you're looking at the White Sox and you're Rick Hahn and you go, okay, we tried, we spent some money, we've re-signed Jake, but it's not working. Who do you have and who would you be willing to move that would bring you back something in return that you go, the future's brighter now because of that trade?
Wow, that's tough. I mean, Alex Rios, is he really tradable? I mean, he's got some money left. Maybe.
Thornton, Jesse Crane.
But those, what do relievers get you? I mean, what are they really going to get you in today's market?
And Alexi.
If you want to reshape the roster, you have to start at the top. They would have to trade somebody like Chris Sale. Now, that's the only way you're really going to reshape the roster. And back to the other point, as far as who's got a better team, the Cubs don't have a Chris Sale, as Jeff Samardzija is not quite there yet, and they don't have an Addison Reed either. So that's 2 huge parts of your team that the Cubs don't have. However, the Sox are real old and real bad, so there's that too. And
Crane is probably the only player on the team that has a chance of making the All-Star team.
You got Chris Sale is arguably top 3 pitchers in the game right now, and he signed a team-friendly deal for the next 5 years. No shot.
I'm not saying they will, but that gives you even more leverage in dealing. If you're the Cubs right now, wouldn't you look at trading Samardzija? Wouldn't you look at trading Travis Wood to try to really restock your farm?
You said that already. They're not Chris Sale.
Okay, that's fine.
You win with superstars. Chris Sale is a superstar.
Maybe he's
can't trade him.
This is a guy that's showing a little bit of arm trouble. I don't know.
That would be the only way you would trade him if you really
thought he was going to break down.
But you wouldn't do it now.
No.
I mean, you wouldn't do it right now. You want to build out. You got to build something.
If
you got to have a major
privately
league
you
product.
said he's going to break down,
Right.
you move him. But if you don't believe that, no shot.
How are you going to reshape that roster? That's a huge challenge for Rick Hahn. I mean, they got a lot of work to do there. And it could be,
I think they're drafting. They're doing things under the radar. They just don't get the attention of the Cubs because Rick Hahn's not Theo Epstein.
Well,
so
plus-
anything he does with building stuff and changing Kenny's philosophy a little bit.
Plus the Cubs picked second, the Sox picked 17th. There's a
Right.
big difference there because the Sox were better.
Sox need this. They need a good draft pick. I mean, they really need a big one.
I'll throw one out there. What about Beckham? Do you move him?
I mean,
think you
for
get
what?
much.
I mean, I don't know
if
what
they
you get for him.
They might get you back on the roster for Gordon Beckham. I don't know much more than that, Dan.
better
You know what, there could be
defensively.
someone. You know what? There could be someone that likes Gordon and thinks they could do something with him. You know what I mean? I don't know the team, and I don't know what the 40-mans look like for other teams, but he's a piece you could move with someone. You're absolutely right, just not as alone.
All right, Daniel Paille with the game winner in overtime in Game 2 to give the Bruins home ice advantage in